In the heart of northern Kenya, where land and sky stretch endlessly, the Samburu people have walked these paths for generations. Their way of life, pastoralism, is not just survival. It's wisdom shaped by the rhythm of the land. As the world prepares to mark the International Year of Rangelands and Pastoralists in 2026, we turn our lens to those who keep this heritage alive.
Mobility is key in promoting pastoral resilience because it deals with three fundamental things. Firstly, it deals with livestock. Secondly, it deals with environment. And thirdly, it's livelihoods. And these things are critical because the environment under which pastoralism is practiced depends on grass and water. And the grass and water oftentimes within the rangelands is sparsely distributed. And in order to cope with this and build that resilience to see healthy livestock and also provide nutrition, it is critical that mobility is encouraged and mobility is practiced.
Mobility is critical for pastoral resilience for the mere fact that through mobility, animals, humans that are involved in pastoralism are able to move from one part to the other in search of pasture, in search of water. Therefore, it enables them to respond to changes in climate. When they can't get water in one part, they can then move to another place where there's water. So they move in search of pasture and they move in search of water. And that's critical for pastoralism because pastoralism, by its very nature, is nomadic. By its very nature, involves huge herds of cattle. So the ability to be able to move from one place to the other is critical for for pastoralism lifestyle and therefore for their resilience.
Iko changamoto kidogo kwa sababu wakati tulikatakata mashamba kila mtu apata yake, unajua sasa hatukuwa na kisuisi ya kwamba mnyama akiingia shamba ya mwingine inakuwa mbaya, lakini wakati tulikatakata sasa huwezi kanyanga kwa shamba ya mtu. Hapo ukienda kwa shamba ya mtu kulisha sasa itakuwa ni kesi. Mbeleni hatukuwa na kesi kwa sababu tulikuwa tunalisha tu, ilikuwa open ground. Hakuna mtu anasema hapa ni kwangu.
The rangeland in itself, apart from supporting pastoralism, in Samburu, the rangeland offers or supports tourism, because in this economy or in this part of Kenya, human beings thrive side by side by wild animals.
Mobility, the movement of people and livestock, is the heart of pastoral resilience. But today, climate change, land fragmentation, and new boundaries are testing this ancient system.
Ora bobo na manchoi nage. Chamo ando kimsa, ketin karene, ketin kujita, ne betul mangati. Kami ko ngene singo ni mangati. Lagi dai kuna dia painya.
The Kisima covers an area of about 200 square kilometers. The lake collects its water from its natural springs. This is a very important lake. It is a water source for livestock. It is also a water source for human domestic use and also for wildlife.
Yoldo ni kasi yo. Korda na ala ta kishomo. Asma bigi yengo ne tinkare. Eti ngojet. Rotu munasi ada dada. Ayo sida na dana timedere mo. Rotu sida ngwe na dare bigi ribsi yo bamanya liko guru. Ana bomo puru sida ge. Ini ramai tingkona. Ugu bosio to godango jitin altongana nugu wa winti sirin. Yol dongkai tanah ko muya ndol sida nare. Nere mi sida na muy. Orana ge dil manjeri. Nuntu sida ge.
Nugu bongare. Kala ko nugo yo leng molol tongono bo. Ntimi dei pi. Keti abal domia. Neti da bagi ngesi poki. Keti abak na dua ka bagi ngesi yol tongana. Am kya bal mo korani. Ni ke mandi kino gralatia anya serian. Nugu potangare. Nugu bongara ko do dali nugo golle. Ngai sera na ji kukwal. Kya kilomita tomona bagi. Nugu bonu ta wol pira ilankare. Na. Ko bigu bo sambili. Ni ke bawone ka jo sai na keye. Na. Nugu bonu ta. Na sai ni. Nugu dogi na ka to ka mana. Nugu bol kek atoki. Ni ke rapuro nugu potol kek wala tia. Nugu pa gulul kek ka. Gulul kek nugu bonu on tomono. Me ata tal ka silo do asabe me ata la tino. Na. Yoro dogi na nugu bonu tol kek. Ya ba sa na do sa sita. Ni ki yer to kunda. Na.
As seasons grow harsher, innovation meets tradition. From mobile alerts to customary councils, the Samburu are finding new ways to protect their herds and their heritage.
Yo sida ge kuntumia sida simui. Kuntumia sida simui ni kan baru sida dana ta yu nugo. Ninga sai baru na daga je juduni. Ni baru tur no. Baru sai baru tur. Ligi ni sia nung dumia sia daga simui na daga ngka.
60 to 70% of the Republic could be classified as rangeland. And it is those rangeland that are the frontiers of development. And so we need to prepare these communities to anticipate any possible change and how they could prepare coping mechanisms that come with what we refer as modern economic systems that has not been traditional to their environmental areas or spaces. And of course, to give governments chance on how to conduct these wide infrastructural developments that is being talked about without interfering with nature that exists within the rangelands.
If you look at Kenya, for example, we are currently in the process of reviewing our national land policy. Traditionally, in many countries, formal policy have assumed that formalization is similar to individualization. I think formal policy needs to much more recognize pastoralism, much more incorporate its unique characteristics, and much more facilitate its implementation, recognizing mobility and therefore enhancing resilience and also the continued practice of pastoralism. So formal policy should be able to, number one, recognize pastoralism, but number two, put in place tools that can be able to support pastoralism. I think a lot of times during elections, for example, you hear debate about we will have insurance for livestock, so that when there is drought, the farmers, the pastoralists don't lose all their livestock. So those kind of policy innovations are critical to be recognized in policy, because then they are able to be supportive of pastoralism as a lifestyle.
The recent biennial conference on customary tenure rights in Eastern Africa underscored one truth: securing the rights of pastoralists to move freely sustains not just communities, but ecosystems.
We must try as much as possible also to ensure that we promote policies that also align with pastoral resilience. Because with that, then we are able to deal with the challenges that come with land, with the protection of collective tenure rights. And it also helps us in terms of coming up with mechanisms for adaptation when it comes to climate change and climate resilience.
The Samburu story echoes across rangelands worldwide. A story of resilience, adaptation, and respect for nature's balance.
As a preparation of the International Year of Pastoralists and Rangelands 2026, I think it will be a very good platform whereby the pastoral youths will get a chance and also a ground to air out their voices so that to be heard. As pastoralist youths, we have been going through many challenges whereby we have never got any platform to share our views and also to share our insights on our livelihood.
My message to the world is that women from pastoral communities and youth as well need to be included in decision-making platforms, and policy and action should align for pastoralism to thrive.
As a pastoral elder, my message to the world is that it is paramount to protect the wetlands, and let us embrace to conserve the wetlands.
2026 must be an opportunity for us to celebrate and showcase pastoralism. But number two, my great message is to recognize that pastoralism is here to stay. It is useful to help us address challenges like climate change, but it requires that we invest much more in it, put in resources, strengthen policy, and be able to support those who are practicing pastoralism, because it's a critical lifestyle, it's a critical option for addressing the huge challenges that we face in the world, including climate change.
All governments plus stakeholders are critical in making this and building the momentum towards the 2026.
As the world celebrates the International Year of Rangelands and Pastoralists, may these voices remind us that sustainability begins with those who live closest to the land.